Hello and welcome to section 1.3, which is on measuring segments. And so the section starts out talking about postulate 1.5, and that is that every point on a line can be paired with a real number. This real number is called the coordinate. We've heard of coordinates before. That's just a little reminder, and that's the rule that follows that. Distance, the absolute value of the difference of the coordinates of 2 points. The reason they're saying absolute value is because they're not going to say that distance is a negative number. Okay, so you use the absolute value. So if I have a number line here, we'll just use B and F. So the distance from B to F is actually the absolute value, right, of the B and the F, okay, from B to F. Absolute value. So it's going to be a positive number. That's all that means. Postulate 1.6, if 3 points C, D, and E are collinear, which means they share a line, they're on a line, and D is between C and E, then CD plus DE is going to equal CE. And I will show you kind of what I mean with that with another example. So if I have a diagram, JL is going to be 120, and then I want to know, well, if that's the case, what are JK and KL? So here's J, K, we'll put L all the way down here, and I'm going to say that from J to K is 4x plus 6. From K to L is 7x plus 15. Okay? Now, this is, remember I told you yesterday, or today even, that they're going to be bringing algebra into geometry all the time. Well, this is a great example of it. They're not going to come out and just say, this is what it is. You're going to have to figure it out. So from all the way from J to L is 120. They want to know then, well, what's from J to K and what's from K to L? So how am I going to do that? Well, I can see by looking at this that JK plus KL is going to equal JL, right? So 4x plus 6 plus the 7x plus 15 is going to equal my whole 120. Okay, because they told me J to L is 120, so it has to equal the whole thing. So I'm going to go through and solve this like I would just a regular algebra problem. I'm going to combine my like terms. 4x plus 7x is 11x. 6 plus 15 is 21, and that's going to equal 120. The next step would be minus your 21, minus your 21, and I'll bring it over here. 11x is going to equal 99. Divide by 11 for your last step, and then therefore x is 9. And you can plug it back in to make sure that it works. So if I take this 9 and plug it back into 4x plus 6, so 4 times 9 plus 6, 4 times 9 is 54. 54 plus 6 would be 60. Okay, so right there that's saying that wait a second. This is not 54, this is 36. 36 plus 6 is 42. So let me fix that. Then I'm going to plug the 9 back into the other one as well. So I'm going to have to go up here. I'm running out of room. So 7 times 9 is 63, plus the 15 is going to be 78. So do 78 and 42 add up to 120? Yes, they do. Okay, so you need to make sure that it equals what they originally told us. Congruent segments. Congruent means equal. So congruent segments is 2 segments that have exactly the same lengths. Midpoint means the point that divides the segment into 2 congruent segments. Segment bisector is the segment that intersects another segment at its midpoint. Okay, so here's my example. If U is the midpoint of TV, so let's draw this out. So I have T, U, and V. So they're saying that U is in the middle. So U is the midpoint. So if I were to draw a line right here, that would be my segment bisector. Okay? So they're going to say 8x plus 11 and 12x minus 1 for this side. So I want to know, what is TU, what is UV, and what is TV? Okay. If they're saying that TU is the same distance as UV, I can set these two things equal to each other. I cut the segment in half equally. So 8x plus 11 is going to equal 12x minus 1 then. They have to equal each other. If I cut it in half with the segment bisector, they have to equal. So then I'm just going to go through and solve this equation. So I'm going to move my smaller x to the other side by subtracting it. If I subtract it from one side, I have to do the same to the other. I'm going to add my 1 to get rid of it and move it over here. So now 12 equals 4x. Divide by 4 to finish this up, my last step. And therefore x equals 3. That is not my final answer though, because I need to go plug it back in and see what these are. So if I go back up and look at my drawing, 8x plus 11 is TU. So plug it in, 8 times 3 plus 11. 8 times 3 is 24, plus 11 is 35. So 35 is TU. So there's 1/3 of your answer. Now I need to know what 12x minus 1 is. So 12 times my 3 minus 1. So 36 minus 1 equals 35. And look at that. UV is also 35. Well, shouldn't it be? If that is truly a segment bisector, the left side has to equal the right side. So it's a good thing they both equal 35 then. And then they also wanted to know what TV was. So TV is going to equal 70 because you add these two together to get that. Okay, so that is the basic concept of what we're going to be covering tomorrow. Have a good night.